Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's go back. Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Gen X Unfiltered, the podcast.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Steve, Eric.
Kelly, Steve.
What's going on?
How's it going?
Hey.
I think it's super.
Man.
Yes. Before, let's just inside joke, is the audio recording?
It is, yes. We just recorded a podcast that had no audio because I didn't record and we didn't
Well,
notice
it's not just your fault. We all are staring at it, but I'm just saying.
We stared at it for an hour. And
it was an effing good one.
It was a
super
banger.
It was super like off the cuff, just like organic conversation. Oh, we can't recreate it.
But what are we talking about today?
Superman. Sometimes it's fun for the audience to hear the trials and tribulations.
I know, it's the behind the scenes of
like this literally just
the making
happened.
of our podcast.
It literally just happened 3 minutes ago, so it's still fresh. Okay.
We usually do a couple of these.
The wound's still not healed.
All right, so we watched the Superman, the Christopher Reeve story.
Yeah.
It's a couple of years old. Like, it's not like brand new or anything.
No, it came out in
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, a year old
not
then.
super old.
Yeah, Superman. So it was actually the 2024. I'm just rattled, okay?
I know. You're thrown off from our last podcast.
Okay, the 2024 documentary Superman, the Christopher Reeve story chronicles the life of actor Christopher Reeve, focusing on his rise to fame as Superman, his near-fatal horse riding accident, and his subsequent work as an activist for disability rights. The film includes never-before-seen footage and extended interviews with Reeve's family and friends, offering an intimate look at his life. Christopher Reeves was Superman for Gen X.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's been lots of Supermans really before and after Christopher Reeves, but for like our generation, like when I think of Superman, I think of Christopher Reeves.
So
I think a lot of people do. And they've never been able to recreate the magic of Superman. They've tried, but
one of the the very first movie I ever remember going to see in person was with my dad. My dad liked going to the movies, and my mom and sister went to some Disney movie, and he made me go to Superman. I'm guessing it would have been like 4.
Yeah,
probably
4 came out in like 1987, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, it was probably I don't think I wasn't a year old going and remembering. So so I remember going, and then I saw because my dad loved the movies. I saw all the other ones sort of like on.
Yeah, I remember seeing them
in
people's houses or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I remember someone renting them or something. Or
oh my god, I remember like
or beta.
I think it been my 5th or 6th birthday party, and my dad rented a Laserdisc player.
Whoa!
I know this. You know how old this is, right? Yeah. And we got Superman 3 on Laserdisc.
That's awesome.
And he rented it for my birthday, and that was my, I had some friends over. That was my birthday party.
Okay,
Laserdisc.
Exactly.
So,
what is this?
Let me ask this question.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to ask a question like a talk show host.
Okay.
All right.
Call
I'm
me
ready.
Late Night with Kel.
All right, Kels.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. I was picturing myself at a late night talk show host desk, and who my sidekick
waiting for
would
the
be.
band.
Yeah, I was just waiting. So what was your overall initial impression? Like, not detailed, but just initial impressions of the documentary. Was it surprising to you? Was it new information? Was it better than you thought? Did they leave stuff out? Like, what do you think?
I thought it was really good. Yeah, I think they did a good job of sharing his story from start to finish, sadly. But yeah, that was really good. And it was cool how much actual like home footage they had in there and stuff. I thought that was really good.
So it was also told mostly from the vantage point of his children.
Yeah.
Mostly they were narrating
it was nice.
it.
His whole family was involved, so that was good.
And his ex-girl, they weren't married, but
his ex-partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that was kind of nice because it was obviously very personal.
Yeah.
Whatever. But what about you, Eric?
Same thing. I thought they did a really good job of kind of giving a big picture, an unbiased view of Christopher Reeves. Like, it wasn't all like, Christopher Reeves was a fantastic guy, a great dad. He was flawed, right? Like, he wasn't. That was kind of like one of the big contrasts. He played Superman on screen, but in real life, he was like just a regular flawed guy.
He was just a dude,
like everybody else. And I thought the documentary did a good job of showing that.
He actually, at some point, if I remember correctly in the documentary, like after his accident, I think he somehow reflected on that and said that the accident was kind of like a wake up.
Yeah, I think he.
And let's be real. Like, I mean, from what they've said and based on his old interviews and stuff, like, this guy wasn't like the worst man on the planet. But I mean, he was, I think, a little bit of a womanizer.
Well,
he left his children in another country to go work on his career. Like, they were just not great things.
Yeah, he was focused on being an actor.
Yeah, the fame.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So.
Well, what about you? Like, how did the? What was your overall impression of the documentary?
You don't ask the talk show host questions.
Oh, sorry. I'm
just
picking
kidding.
it back on you.
I mean, honestly, like, obviously I knew Christopher Reeve had an accident. I knew how it happened. I knew he did advocacy work, but I mean, all the minute details, like, no, I didn't know. I think it was good. I mean, it kept my attention, and that's hard because I have very small attention span.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. I think the relationships, like I said, that they talked a lot about his relationships with his ex-partner, his current, like his wife, his children. It just felt very honest.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It felt, that's a good way to put it, was very honest. Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you know, even they used obviously his old interview archives, and then even his kids, like
Yeah.
nowadays talking. I mean, they love their dad, but they definitely didn't sugarcoat some of his not great moments.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was really well done. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was pretty much done in like chronological order, right? Like it kind of went from his early career
Yeah.
through Superman years, which was
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, his prime as an actor, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to the real milestone later on, which is his accident, and then his life post-accident, which is all like advocacy work.
yeah.
Right?
I think one of the things I didn't realize, obviously, like until I kind of watched the documentary with the
Yeah.
timeline, is for some reason I didn't realize that his accident like literally happened in the almost the prime of his career. Like I know the Supermans like were the prime of his career. Unfortunately, he was typecast as Superman.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he tried a lot of things and there was like duds, but like he was still riding the wave of being Superman. And like he was only like what, 40, 37,
He
38,
wasn't, he wasn't
40?
that old, yeah.
So I mean, I guess I just didn't realize that in my head for some reason. I thought he was like older and like wasn't acting anymore. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of the same way. I kind of, you know, because you think of him as Superman. I didn't really realize
Yeah.
how much other stuff he had been in, and then yeah, you're right.
But
You know, kind of didn't really realize at the time. You kind of thought he was not acting anymore.
No.
yeah, or just because I don't know. I just the timeline I didn't realize it was like his accident was what in like 95,
Yeah, May 27th, 1995.
and so you know the last Superman he did was what like 80.
1987.
Yeah, so I mean that's 8 years.
That's 8
That's
years.
a
Yeah,
lot.
no, it's
but
not
like
that-
it just for some reason I just felt like it was a lot longer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
that far removed from I see. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
it was just so seeing the timeline of that like was kind of, you know, I think the overall message of the documentary, at least what I grasped from it, was just definitely the one big word that I can think of is resilience. Not
Yeah.
just by him, but by his wife and his whole entire family.
Well, because there's you know, an accident like he had, like that affects every, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like his whole family was clearly affected by, you know, yeah, you realize it's not just about him, it's about all of them, the whole Reeves family.
Was there one moment in the documentary that surprised you?
Oh, yeah. Actually, there's one that really stood out. Like, obviously the accident was bad. Like, he got paralyzed from that, right? Awful accident. I had no idea how, you know, bad it was. Like, they had to, like, basically reattach his head to
Did they
his
say
body.
he was basically decapitated?
They
almost?
said
basically,
they
like, it was because of the way the spine severed in the neck, it was basically decapitated.
Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
basically what happened when you hang somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that the way it breaks your neck.
Yeah.
Is what happened to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of said the same thing too. Like they're like a centimeter to the left,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
would have not been. You know, he would have died. Centimeter to the right, he probably would have been fine. He would have
Now-
got up and been laughing it off.
Yeah.
What about you? Was there?
I don't know if there's anything really that sort of really surprised me. But no,
I'm-
it's just I was actually just more surprised overall with the whole documentary how much I enjoyed it.
So
To be
there was
honest,
one-
I didn't think I was going to really care.
There was
Yeah.
one thing that's well, I mean, I wasn't super excited to
Yeah,
watch
no,
it.
not that I wasn't going to care, but you know, I
So-
kind of thought I knew everything, so it's like, whatever.
One of the things that surprised me that I'm sure we'll talk about later in more detail as we kind of go through chronologically, but one of the things that surprised me was the most was A, I didn't realize that Dana Reeves had died, and B, I didn't realize like how close to him she died.
Yeah,
I was like,
his
what?
second wife. Yeah,
Yeah,
like it was.
But I
yeah.
mean, we'll go into detail of that. But I do want to say that I'm going to be completely honest, and I think I even said this in the doc, like when we were watching the documentary, and I changed my tune after watching it, and it was just a very like ignorant sort of
Perspective,
I guess.
Yeah.
And I mean, when, you know, they were talking about his accident and like what happened and how like literally it was like the chin down, like he couldn't even breathe on his own. Like it was just crazy. And I was just like, you know, I was like, if that was me, I would have just like pulled the plug. Right.
I think
And I
he
think-
kind of was too. At first, was like,
Yeah.
I don't want this.
It
Like,
was really his wife that kind of talked him
Yeah.
through
Which
that-
made
that-
me kind of
that
angry.
mindset.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. Like watching that part, I was angry. I was like, like, what are you doing? Like, I get it. You don't want to lose him, but like, what kind of life is he going to have? Right. I mean, it ended up he made great positivities out of it. And that's amazing. But like, I was just like, that is so, I didn't like her in that moment.
No, well, because I mean, it was like, is he going to ever be able to do, and like, is he going to be like
breathe on his own?
Well, I think it's like, is he just going to be lying in a bed, alive, but doing nothing for the rest of his life? And thank God that wasn't the case.
You also have to take into consideration they were in a different position, right? They were in a position of privilege where they could afford to have the 24-hour nursing care. They could afford to have
the best of the best,
the experimental things to get movement. Like they could do all that, and that's amazing. But that's not the average person.
No, that's sort of, they kind of touch on that a lot. That's sort of what really led to his advocacy, because they realized, if he wasn't Christopher Reeve, Superman actor with
he would be
Hollywood
in a
friends,
hospital in a bed.
He would probably have, his future would have been lying in a hospital bed for the rest of his life.
Yeah, because he couldn't even keep his head. He couldn't control his head.
It no control of his head. He couldn't breathe on his own.
No, like it was literally like just like his mouth and like like that was it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just awful. Like so sad to go. Because he was obviously a guy that was an actor, but obviously like he was big into like sports and all this stuff too. Yeah. So like going from all that to just being lying in bed.
Yeah, and just another crazy thought was just like how primitive like the equipment was keeping him alive. Like remember, like the hose could just fall out, the oxygen hose.
Yeah.
At any time, it's like this is really like you know, it's 1985 wasn't that long ago, but I'm like really like there's equipment in the hospitals that is so flawed.
Yeah, like the hood tube that went into his throat just plugged in the front of it. If it popped loose, it's like he's not breathing until someone. It was an alarm, but someone's gonna come in. Like
he has no oxygen, so he can't like yell for help.
No, he can't.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's got to hope that someone like can come by and
hear the
notice
alarm going off.
Yeah, the alarm going off.
Yeah.
So they used a lot of. I think Steve mentioned it, but they used a lot of archival. Is that how you say that word?
Yeah.
Archival
yeah.
footage and interviews.
Yeah.
They went over a big part of it was his family, the relationships in his family. Now, I didn't really, I did not know much about Christopher Reeve. I knew he was married to somebody named Dana Reeves. That's all I knew.
I don't even think I knew that, to be honest.
I knew that because I remember, like, obviously they have foundations and like whatever.
Yeah.
But he had a relationship where he had 3 kids. It was a long-term-ish relationship. They never got married.
No, we met her on the cast when he was working on Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was from England. And
Gay Exton, they were partners from 1977 to 87.
Like a long time. They had 3 kids. She mostly resided in London with the kids. That was part of the part where they were kind of talking, like the kids now were talking about how like, he just left one day and kind of didn't come back for months.
Yeah.
After they broke up.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was nice because she was a big part of the documentary and she was talking about like, she definitely has adoration for him and like love for him, but also she's like, he didn't want to commit. He didn't want to get, we didn't want to get married or just kind of like whatever.
Yeah, no. And
so they talked a lot about that and they had a lot of old footage. And then obviously they talked about, Dana Reeve, who was Dana Morosini. All the kids, especially even his kids with the ex-partner, talked about how like she was definitely like they were like a perfect match. Like they were like each other's true loves. Like he married her quick. They got married in 1992.
Which I'm sure to Gay Exton was probably like a little punch in the stomach because like 10 years, 3 kids.
Yeah.
Wouldn't marry me.
Do it.
Yeah. And now you're married right away. Yeah.
So I got to correct myself. I'm looking at my little fact sheet. He had 2 kids with Gay, Matthew and Alexandra, and then, had 3 children. I was right. Matthew, Alexandra, and Will.
The first 2 kids were with Gay.
Oh, wow. They wrote that really confusing. Because I'm like, wait a minute. Because you know why? For some reason, I thought the 3rd kid's name wasn't Will. It was something else.
No, the 3rd kid's name was Will.
So, and then him and Dana Reeves had a son together.
Yes.
Will.
Yeah.
And in all the home videos, they're showing like, his kids from the first relationship. And then even the kids talked very highly of their stepmom.
Yeah.
They're like, she made us part of the family. Like, it was no questions. Like, we were invited to everything. We were a part of our brother's life. Like, again, very, like, it sounded like a very happy household, blended family.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which actually worked out well in the end because Will, their kid, wasn't that old when mom and dad both passed away.
Oh.
No, I know we're going to get there. But I'm just saying, but,
So hold on. I gotta go back to my notes. I lost my place. There's 2 notes going here. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying I'm trying to keep,
God bless the notes.
So I don't remember this part, and I thought I actually paid very close attention to this documentary because you guys are talking about it, but you guys can explain a bit more. But the whole thing with his dad.
Yeah, so really interesting, right? Like Christopher Reeve started off his career as a serious actor, like in the theater, right? Like where did he go? He went to
Juilliard.
Yeah, Juilliard, right? And
yeah, which is like a famous school for like acting.
Yeah, exactly. So he wanted to be a serious, theater actor, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of when Christopher Reeve talks in these interviews, he's trying to he was trying to impress his dad
because his dad was quite like his dad was like I know his dad was like a famous artist and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, so he was yeah,
exactly. So he's trying to impress his dad for a lot of his early in his career and stuff. And I guess he was never able to do it. His dad was not impressed with like the work he'd done. And then he told his dad he got Superman, and his dad was like amazed. He's like, this is great, Superman. My boy's in Superman. But his dad didn't realize it was like Superman, the comic book character. He thought it was, what was it called?
I don't know.
He thought it was a George Bernard Shaw drama called Man and Superman.
So he was more disappointed he got the Superman comic?
So Christopher's dad thought he was going to be in a George Bernard Shaw movie.
Yeah,
I don't know who
not
that
a
is.
comic book hero.
Not a comic book hero.
Yeah, well, that comic book hero probably made a lot of money for his family.
And that's one of the things they touch on. Like he was still in Juilliard, like in school. This is his first acting role was Superman.
Yeah.
And I remember he said some of his friends said, "Don't do it."
William Hurt.
Yeah, William Hurt was his buddy, and they're like, "Don't do it."
Oh, another interesting thing we never talked about that this shocked me. I had no idea that him and Robin Williams were like BFFs for life.
Yeah.
BFFs.
Yeah, he was
life.
really sweet. Robin Williams and his
They were
wife
roommates
and
at one
stuff.
point.
Yeah.
I had no idea. That was like, what? That's a weird combination. Not like weird, but just not a combination you would expect.
Yeah, no, but they were like thick as thieves, the two of them. Yeah, like even like they show a lot of footage of Robin Williams coming to his house and stuff like that. And it was really really nice to see.
That's like crazy. Like it's just that shocked
Superman
me.
and Mork.
I know, what a combination.
Yeah, no, it's anything you wouldn't have pictured it, but yeah, they were like best friends.
Yeah,
and all through thick and thin, like even after his accident, and all that stuff, Robin was always there, like helping out with the family and like the bottom of that van.
So I think the biggest I think it's one of the biggest parts of the story of his life is the accident, because that definitely changed the whole trajectory of his life. Some would say negatively. I'm sure if he was here now, he would say positively, which is hard to believe because it was so tragic. But really quickly, a couple of facts on the accident. So we have the deets, right? May 27th, 1995, Reeve's horse made a refusal. Witnesses said the horse began the third fence jump and suddenly stopped. Reeve fell forward off the horse holding onto the reins. His hands became tangled in them, and the bridle and bit were pulled off the horse. He landed headfirst on the far side of the fence, shattering his first and second vertebrae. The resulting cervical spinal injury paralyzed him from the neck down and halted his breathing. Paramedics arrived 3 minutes later and immediately took measures to get air into his lungs. He was taken first to the local hospital before being flown by helicopter to the University of Virginia Medical Center. He had no recollection of the accident. He had to use a wheelchair and a ventilator for the rest of his life. They talked obviously, because they did, and again, this is archival footage because unfortunately they're both not here anymore, but right after the accident, sort of talking about it. Then there was that big whole like scene where I think it was like a year after the accident, like it wasn't that long, where he went to the Oscars.
Yeah, he came to the Oscars like it was like a year later. Yeah,
and almost everybody was just like, whoa, because then him talking about how difficult it was for him to get there.
Yeah, that was a big ordeal, right? Like he's like, am I gonna make it? Am I gonna have like a fit on stage?
Yeah.
Well, and that's why he said it was a secret.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to make this big proclamation and then something spasm or something happen.
Spasm, better word than a fit. The spasm.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean though? Some sort of like a medical issue on stage.
Yeah.
Or before where he had to cancel. So a lot of the audience, I mean, I'm sure there were some people that knew, but a lot of the audience was just like,
yeah,
what?
Well, I mean, considering like, within a year you go from literally almost dying to be back in he even like he talked then too, didn't he? And
he
stuff?
talked.
Like he gave his speech back and stuff like that. So it's you want to talk about life giving you lemons and making lemonade, like you couldn't imagine for the hand he was dealt in that accident to what he turned it into. It was amazing to see. It was really inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, like even him talking about, they talked briefly and they had some footage of him making the trek to there, but like
to the Oscars,
he like he said he couldn't even hold his head up on the plane. They like his head was just strapped down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He literally had no movements
No.
other than his like mouth and
No, that didn't really change for most of his life after the accident, right? Like they showed, fast forward a little bit, they showed him in the pool, able to, after some stem cell treatments,
Yeah.
he was able to just kind of wiggle his
yeah.
like toes a little bit.
Yeah, move his finger a bit
Move
and
his
stuff
finger
like
a bit,
that.
yeah.
Which is like, holy crap. Like even that was like, wow. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
incredible.
And then it's like, what does that lead to?
Yeah.
If, he lived longer, who knows? Like,
It's weird things like that where like it's like, and I say this just like bluntly, but like there's more to it, but like why didn't he just die? I mean, he was this close to just dying. Like
Yeah.
why didn't he die? Well, I mean, I guess looking back and seeing there's a reason why he didn't die because he did so much brought so much awareness and all this stuff
Yeah.
too.
yeah.
But it's just one of those weird things. It's like, like why was that like millimeter difference where he didn't die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about that, right? Because
Yeah.
like, circumstances are different slightly and he's dead or the accident's not as bad, right? Like
It's like, why didn't the universe or whoever it is out there, why didn't he just die? But I mean, obviously, clearly we can see why, because he did a lot of good in the short time that he had after the
Yeah.
accident.
No, yeah. No, him and his wife and their family. Yeah. I mean, and they're still going strong with their, their charities to, raise
Yeah.
money and awareness and stuff like that.
the
Like it's-
advocacy work, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think we really, like, there's so much to talk about the advocacy work, but we'll just kind of continue the timeline of sort of, so he had the accident in 1995.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know why this is surprising me too. For some reason, I thought he died. He died in 2004. For some reason, I thought it was like soon, like not as long.
No,
Like,
no,
it was
no.
almost
It
10
was,
years.
yeah, it was, he had, like it was quite a while between, like, 10 years isn't a super long
No,
time,
but-
no,
so
it was,
he-
it wasn't like,
He died of cardiac arrest in 2004. He was 52 years old. I think there was, the kids were talking about it. He was sent to the hospital. The kids all, like, Dana called the kids and were like, you have to come now. They were in
Yeah.
England.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Did they get there before he died?
no,
What-
the one
The
son
ones that
didn't.
didn't make it in time. no.
Yeah. I mean, he was, cardiac arrest. I mean, there's, his body was probably just, I mean, I can't imagine your body can live like that forever.
No, it's a lot of strain.
Yeah.
And then this is one of the saddest things that I just didn't realize until I watched it. So he died in 2004.
Yeah.
August 2005, Dana gets diagnosed with lung cancer, stage 4. What?
Yeah. That,
Yeah.
10 months after he died.
Yeah. And then she gets sick. Yeah.
yeah.
And then less than a year later, April, May, June, July, like 7 months later,
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
died from it.
That's
yeah.
awful.
No, I
Yeah,
know. I
it's-
was,
Like, what? So their kid I read this like brief little thing on
Will,
Wikipedia.
yeah.
I don't think they mentioned it in he talked about it because he was interviewed on the thing, but
Mhm.
I read it on Wikipedia, so I don't know how true it is. But apparently after she died, he ended up living with the neighbors so that he could stay in his same school and stuff.
oh, okay.
I don't know if that's
Well,
true.
because that's the thing. Like, he was pretty young. Like,
Was he like 10 or something? Or
Yeah.
12?
yeah. Like, I was just saying, like, he was pretty young when his parents passed away like that. Like,
So,
Yeah.
and
so it was
then
nice that he had such a close relationship, too, with his
Yeah.
half siblings
This
and stuff.
is-
It's tough, right? Because he never really knew his dad before the accident. for the
No.
most part.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
he was like 3 or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is one of those weird things where I get like retrospective, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's terrible. Like obviously she died so soon after. I'm like, that's crazy. And I'm like, but I think that just sort of like in a weird retrospective way, like sums up their story, right? Like they were obviously like a pair. They loved each other.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was, they were just going to be together till they died.
Yeah.
And I think that they were just that good together. And it's almost just like she had to stay around for him because he obviously needed that.
yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah.
then afterwards, it's just like her time was done.
She was hurt.
She did
Yeah.
what she needed to do.
and was
like,
ready to go.
what?
Yeah, no, I know
Yeah.
it's crazy to think like that. It's
Like stage 4 lung cancer. And it specifically said like she didn't smoke. I mean, she worked because she was a singer. So she worked. And
yeah,
actually, that's what they talk about in the documentary. So she was singing and
Yeah.
she had a cough
She had like a little rasp.
and it wouldn't
Yeah.
go away.
Yeah.
So finally, because it was interfering with her singing,
She went
to
and-
the doctor.
yeah.
What?
Yeah. I know.
No, it's
Like what?
You always hear these stories like that. They're crazy. Someone's got like a slight, like feel fine, but I got like a tickle in my throat,
Yeah.
cough or whatever, and it's like you're dying.
But
Yeah.
like, it's just
Like,
so
it's
crazy.
mind-boggling.
It's not what you expect at all. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, what?
To me, it's just so crazy how soon after that
Yeah.
she was diagnosed and then how soon after she died. Like, what?
Yeah,
It's
no, I
just
know. It's,
crazy to me.
Yeah, you hear these stories like that, these married couples like that just, one goes and the
It
other
was
one's-
almost like her job was done.
Yeah, not like,
Not to be
yeah, but.
No, but
yeah,
I'm not saying that in a negative way. Like, I mean, she committed fully when he
Yeah.
didn't die.
Yeah.
She committed herself fully to being his
Yeah.
biggest support.
It's almost like, like kind
His
of
caretaker
fate intervened a couple times here. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
with his accident, it was very specific how it happened. And he ended up,
yeah.
because of that, becoming a big advocate, and she stuck around with him, and she kind of, kept him, was his moral support, kept him going when he thought he was having dark thoughts.
Yeah, when he was like, forget it.
Yeah.
Well, so
Yeah.
I think it was, if I remember correctly, when they first started the foundation, it was the Christopher Reeve Foundation. After she passed away, I think the kids all changed it to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation.
Yeah.
So it's advocacy for disability rights. And they did a lot for like kids and all that kind of stuff. And it, like Steve said earlier, it was more to like, they realized they were in a place of privilege and they had the resources to kind of have that higher level of
they
care.
realize that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah.
One of the last things Christopher Reeves did was he directed a movie
Yeah.
about someone with the same injury he had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just, again, along the lines of advocacy, right? And
Yeah.
bringing
Yeah,
the
just
issue
spread
to
the
light.
message. Yeah.
So as far as I know, the foundation still continues today, and I think it's the kids that kind of work
Yeah, it
behind
was.
the
They showed us
scenes
the
or
kids
do
that
it.
do it now. Yeah.
And it's just kind of nice. Like I said, he had 2 kids from his first relationship, and then he had the third one who was a lot younger than the other 2. But, they obviously, he still maintained a relationship with them all. I don't know. That's hard. It's weird to say. But like, again, when they were being interviewed, they talked very highly of him.
Yeah.
And they were
obviously-
honest about the bad stuff.
Yeah,
but
no,
they,
they're clearly very fond of their father. Yes.
Okay, so that was the general basis of the documentary. I mean, again, it was just telling their story.
Yeah.
The story obviously, I wouldn't say ends when they died, but I mean, a big part of it ends when they die. They,
Yeah.
their children
No.
are
Yeah.
continuing
Now it
it
just
on.
it carries on the foundation.
But I have some introspective questions for you guys.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
get deep on
I'm
this.
ready to go. Yeah.
We're gonna
That's
get
right.
deep
Deep
on
into
this
my
Friday
thoughts.
night. Friday night. Okay. So what do you think his story teaches today? It's not on the paper, Eric. You can't. You gotta come on. You have to-
I got thinking in my head for this
looking-
one.
yeah. Like, what do you think the story teaches today, or what do you think it like? Maybe make it more personal. Like, what do you think his story teaches you?
I think overcoming adversity. Really, like
Yeah.
he got
A real shit
dealt
end of
about the
stick.
worst hand you could possibly get. And,
Doing something he loved. That's the biggest shit kicker.
Yeah.
He loved riding horses. He competed.
Yeah, but given that really horrible, literally almost dying, to turn it into this foundation that's raised millions of dollars in awareness and stuff like that, I think it's overcome adversity.
Yeah. I think the same thing, like kind of along the same lines, really resilience. Like obviously he had a horrible accident that he overcame in a lot of ways, right? Like obviously he couldn't overcome the injury itself, but he turned that into something much bigger than himself, right?
Yeah.
With his organization. And really also too, like just kind of take time to appreciate your successes. Like his whole career, he tried to like escape being Superman,
Yeah.
which was his biggest success, instead of kind of owning it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think, as with some perspective and looking back, like, he probably look, if he could, he'd be like, Superman was awesome. And,
Well, but think
Yeah.
about it though. Like, if he didn't do Superman, he may not have had the resources to help him when
Yeah.
he was injured to also create this foundation.
Not
Right?
even that, but there's a lot of actors that never reach the level of stardom that
No.
Yeah.
so he may never
No.
have even reached a level where he'd be able to afford to ride horses.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he could have just been another working
Well, he was
actor.
doing a bunch of random like plays and stuff.
Well, he was trying
like-
to, he wanted to be like a
Yeah.
serious actor. He went to Juilliard. So
Yeah.
after Superman, he tried to sort of distance himself and take on different roles. And so
Yeah.
he's doing like Broadway and like,
Yeah.
but he may never have, if he hadn't been Superman, he may never have had the accident because he
But that's
was
what I
riding a
mean.
horse. So,
And Superman enabled so much of other parts of his life.
well,
where,
that's what I'm saying.
He,
It gave
he,
him the opportunity to do all
he was
this.
what was he doing? Like he used to fly gliders and sail boats and stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Superman gave him the means to do all that stuff.
Well, that's exactly.
Well, and that's the
so
thing,
it's a
right?
double-edged sword, this stuff.
That's the thing, right? You look back, and obviously in the moment, you can't see the pattern, or you can't see the like, oh, well, okay, I understand. Because, it's not always good stuff.
Yeah.
It's bad stuff. But like you said,
Yeah.
like if he didn't have Superman and the success of that,
yeah.
I mean, he obviously wasn't made to be on this planet to be an actor for 40 years. I mean, that just wasn't his journey, right?
No,
it wasn't his
that's exactly it.
destination. His journey and his destination was to, advocate and do good with the celebrity he had.
No, the fame he had. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean,
And I think another thing too, sorry, is talking about this, just to make me think about it, but like this story about resilience and stuff like that too, is also no one does it alone.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Let's see, that
Like,
was my point. I never answered my own question, but with sorry, go ahead though.
No,
I
but
was going to say that
go
was
ahead,
my.
but yeah,
but
no,
you guys said resiliency, but I was going to say like loyalty too.
Yeah.
I don't even know if loyalty is the right word. I mean, it is because I mean, she could have just been like,
no,
yeah, I
she could have
can't
just
deal
been,
this.
no, 100%. She could have been like, this is too much for me.
But she
Yeah.
was literally like, and let's be real, there was many a nights that she was in that like, shower or having, a bath and just like sobbing her eyes out, like, what the hell's my life right now?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
no, don't tell me otherwise. Like, of course. And well deserved.
Yeah.
But she still got up every day and she still supported him and she still, I mean, that's.
Well, not just her,
No,
but
but
like,
the
it doesn't
kids
say like the
too.
two of them, but then the kid,
Of
like
course.
we talking about like Robin Williams, one of his closest
course.
friends, was like, so you just realize it.
You
it
need a
takes
village.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
all
that's-
of that.
And that's probably what, kept him out of a lot of dark places at times as
Yeah.
he had the village,
No, exactly. And even like they didn't talk to anyone that I think of really, like maybe a few, but like the people that were there doing the grunt work, like helping him, the physiotherapists and
Yeah.
His nursing staff.
those
yeah.
people, though, like,
Yeah.
who were there
Yeah.
24/7 doing the hard work, like the physical work of
Yeah.
helping this man live life.
Yeah.
I mean,
Getting him through
Not
every
just
day.
the moral support, but like literally
They
Yeah.
literally kind of
cleaning, bathing, feeding.
the basic the basic
everything.
needs of life. They had to keep him literally alive every day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a lot,
so I think one of the cool things is like, it's weird because like, obviously I always just knew Christopher Reeve was Superman, right? Even when he had his accident, I was like, oh, that's Superman.
Well, even, yeah.
Which is crazy because like, I don't even know where I'm going with this point, but it's just weird that even today, not weird, but even today, like people know who he is. I mean,
Yeah.
they know he has a foundation and it's been like 30 years.
Well, if someone
That's
said,
crazy.
well, if someone
Yeah.
was to,
30
for whatever
years.
reason, refer to Superman,
No, 20 years.
I will instantly think of him.
He set the standard.
I
really.
won't think of, I can't remember who the hell played him on TV. I can't think of the guy's name.
Oh, Dean Cain.
Yeah, no, I'm talking like even like in
Dean
the
Cain.
50s.
Oh,
like
way back in the 50s. Yeah.
But like, but I've even forgot about, but Dean
Yeah.
Cain
Lois
was
and
it
Superman and Lois, Brandon Routh.
But my
Yeah.
point is that like, sorry, it was not 30 years ago. 30 years ago, he had the accident.
Yeah.
20 years ago or 21 years ago, whatever, 19, he like, he's still really relevant, which speaks volumes for,
Yeah.
and of course he's relevant for being Superman, but I guarantee you a lot of people now he's relevant for his story and
Yeah.
for the stuff he did after the accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which
yeah.
I think even he said like, that's what he's proud of.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think I would assume absolutely the most proudest thing he did is this foundation. Yeah, like I'm sure he's obviously proud of his movies and stuff, but that's not the same as
No, I mean,
No.
he said that
helping people, hopefully saving lives and
Well,
stuff like that. Like
he
that.
even
You can't-
said, and don't quote me because I don't remember the quote, but he said something along the lines of, the accident was like one of the best things that happened to him. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
it happens, so you have no choice. But
I
he
think
was
it
looking
just-
a positive spin on it and being like, it
yeah.
humbled me. It
Yeah,
made
I
me
was gonna
be
say he lost his ego
gracious.
and
Yeah.
stuff,
It-
and it's,
I appreciate the things that are important.
Yeah.
And stuff
well, it's
like
really
that.
hard. And I mean, even for us average Joes, and I'm talking to everyone like me, you, everyone listening, it's really hard to stop and appreciate things sometimes and being
Yeah.
grateful and having gratitude. It's
not easy.
not that you take things for granted. You're just
Yeah.
not
Well,
even
life
thinking of it, right?
Throws you a bunch of shitty balls every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some days you're easier at just shooing them away. Other days you're not, and they just pound you in the face and they keep going and going and going. And I mean, you know, it's like, shut up.
I'm sorry.
Balls in the face.
Balls in the face. And just
This is what I deal with. This is what I deal with.
I'm still got the mind of a 12-year-old.
That's
But
right.
I'm just saying, like, you know, shitty balls are thrown at you every single day. And like some days you're good at deflecting them and some days you're just not.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's sometimes as easy. Like, they aren't all shit.
No, they're not. But I'm just saying, like,
but I'm just saying it's easy to think of everything as bad and negative.
Right.
And,
some of them are hurdles to overcome, and you're
Yeah.
better off on the other side.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's all relative to everybody's situation, what you consider crappy and what's not.
But I'm just
right?
saying, but it's
Yeah,
easy to focus
I
on
agree.
that and not think like, hey, goddamn, I'm up. I'm on my 2 feet. I'm alive and kicking, and thank God it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
Right? And it's easy. It's very easy. And I
To take that for granted. Yeah.
100%. I do it all the time. I think everyone does.
Totally.
So I think the documentary's message overall is definitely hope, courage, humanity.
Yeah, 100%. It's
Resilience,
adversity.
yeah.
Overcoming major hurdles. Yeah,
And I think
humility is actually a really good point too, because he used
humanity.
Humanity, sorry. Well, also humility.
Okay.
humility. Yeah,
because Christopher Reeves tried not to be like his dad.
Yeah.
But when you ask his kids, they're like, he definitely was like his dad sometimes.
even he kind of said it too. It's like, oh yeah, no, I was, he's competitive and
I was a little more competitive than I had to be
and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. They talked about on the ski hill. The family would be kind of like calmly going down the ski hill, kind of learning how to ski, and he was racing down the hill like, where were you guys? What took us so long?
Yeah, like I'm
such a dad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the best skier in the family, just so you know.
Yeah, just don't forget.
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah. Exactly. So after his accident, obviously, kind of looked back. I was like, oh wow, like I was a little more like my dad than I wanted to be.
He couldn't basically. Yeah, he kind of said like he could never, like he said, when he couldn't participate anymore, he could sit back and appreciate watching his family play football and enjoy the moment of them having fun, not
trying to be the best.
10 years before, he was on there being like, we got to win and I'm going to be the best and not, but just having that mindset, not just being able to be like, oh man, I'm here.
Yeah.
And there's, they had a really nice house out in I can't remember where they live now.
Yeah.
In New York State, I think it was, wasn't it?
I think so.
But it's like a beautiful property and stuff like that, but rather than being able to be like, appreciate I'm here in this beautiful house that Superman money got me and this great career and whatever.
Well, just the fact that I'm alive.
He couldn't think of that. It was like, I got to beat them at football. That's human nature.
That's human nature. And unfortunately, the crappy part is that unless you're a very introspective person who can practice every day. Look, the reality is that none of us are going to have a lot of moments like that unless we're in a situation where those moments are now taken away from us,
that's exactly
right?
it. You get forced into you fall off a horse and snap your neck.
Because
you get forced into that.
Yeah.
Because us sitting here, it's hard to imagine that we will never be able to get on our bike and ride it again.
Yeah.
We're like, I'll always be able to ride my bike.
Yeah.
Whereas like that, you may not be able to ride your bike again.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
so until you're in that moment, and it's hard to like place yourself in that moment because it seems so unbelievably not possible. So it's like, having the introspect to kind of like take the time to put yourself in, what if I couldn't ride this bike again?
Yeah.
I want to enjoy
didn't
every
think
second
about
of
having, but just to be grateful about.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like when you're riding the bike, just enjoy the moment of riding the bike and not just like, oh, I got to get on the bike so I can get here and go there fast. Just be like, no, my legs are moving, the wind's in my face, the sun's on me. Like, you never know when you're not going to be able to do that.
No,
that's just an example, obviously.
But 100% that's it. It's easy to get lost in your thoughts about anything else, not sort of enjoying the moment.
All right, just to end off, would you recommend this documentary?
Absolutely, yeah.
Whether you're a fan or not, or don't know anything?
It was interesting because, I didn't know, I knew obviously Christopher Reeve and his story, but not very well. So I would 100% recommend it. It was really interesting. It was great. I think they did a really good job with the documentary. Yeah, definitely check it out.
I think it's definitely inspiring.
Oh, totally. I think look at all the conversations this documentary like brought up, right? Like introspective stuff. We're thinking about like gratitude in our own lives. Mm-hmm. So great documentary. And I think it showed Superman was flawed like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Well, and just think,
all of us are,
when he got on that horse that day, do you think that he thought he would never be able to even breathe on his own after that? That's what I mean. Like
how often does that cross
exactly
that thought cross anyone's mind?
No, you would never get on a horse if that's what you're thinking. Yeah.
No, but
or
I'm just
in
saying,
general, like I might not be able to breathe on my own one day.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying that's just how much we just take everything for granted. And like it's good that we're not living in this constant state of like, oh my God, I could be paralyzed. But it also is a reminder of how literally in seconds your whole entire life can change.
No, and that's exactly why you got to enjoy the here and now.
Exactly.
All right, well, comment below. Let us know.
What about you?
Oh,
you?
Yeah. Would you recommend?
Before you wrap this
Oh,
up.
well,
Yeah.
I said, okay, sorry. They just made me stop quickly. Well, no, I would recommend it, obviously. I just said that what is the word I said? That it,
Resilience?
Inspiring?
Inspiring?
that's what I said. No, I mean, I'd recommend it for sure. Coming from somebody like me, who I'm going to be honest, I had absolutely zero interest in watching this. When you guys suggested it, I was like, oh, whatever. And I watched it. Like, my attention span is small, and I watched it.
Yeah, I think it's a great watch for anyone who's
I can see your hand getting caught up in your headphones.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways, I think it's a great watch for anyone who's a Superman fan or not.
Or you just want to watch something that makes you feel, which sounds weird, but you just want to feel hopeful and like inspired.
It's very inspiring. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's sad, but hopeful and inspiring.
Yeah. Again, life gives you lemon, and they made lemonade.
All right, but comment below. Let us know if you have seen this documentary, what you thought, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably all we have to say.
Let us know
about
who your
that.
favorite Superman was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I saw 4 in the theater. I don't know. I like Dean Cain. Christopher Reeve's like cool, but Dean Cain was more my era. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe, everybody.